Hello fellow Ranger fans and welcome back to the channel. Today we're taking a look at the Lightning Collection Psycho Rangers. Shout out to TravelingPowerRangersFan. I'll leave a link down in the description below. Be sure to check him out because he is the one that made me spend money on this. Because I wasn't going to buy this set at first because I thought it was a US exclusive. But it was on the German Amazon. And now we're here. I'll get him back though. I'll make him spend more money at the next time we have a convention again. You can be sure of that. Anyway, let's take a look. And here we have the front of the box, which is just absolutely gorgeous to look at with just all 5 Rangers in a row. I already love the art clips on the boxes for the Rangers, and just having them all together like this looks really good. We already got a little already unpacked Psycho Pink, the original Ranger Slayer there. And of course, the Psycho Ranger Psychopath comic. If you haven't read that yet, be sure to pick it up. It's like a sequel to the In Space story and the Psycho Rangers. I absolutely love this comic. You might need to read some of the previous Go-Go Power Ranger comics just to know why there's a green Psycho Ranger, but that's not important today because we are basically just having a look at these characters right here. We're not here to review comics. At least not today, not today. Let's take a look at the back of the box here. We got some beautiful art of all the figures displayed with their weapons and their zappy lightning hands. Did the Psycho Rangers have zappy lightning hands in the series? I can't remember. I'll have to check that out. If I can find a clip of it, I'll put it right now. And otherwise, who knows? Who knows? Probably plenty of In Space fans that do know. But anyway, without further ado, let us get to the good stuff and open up the box so you can see how the figures are displayed on the inside. They all come with an extra spare hand, which is just a closed fist. There's an effect for the yellow and the red Ranger. They all come with their weapons and all get a zappy hand. Here you can see how they're basically inside the box. So let's get them out of the box and let's set them up. And here we've got them all displayed out of their box. They are an absolute gorgeous team. I'm kind of ticked off just a little bit that they were released like this after they already released red and blue, because now I have to double dip, although I can probably customize the double red and blue that I've got into perhaps green and silver, because green is really difficult to get in Europe, because first of all, Hasbro Pulse does not ship to Europe, which is annoying as it is a Hasbro Pulse exclusive, and I already heard even then he is very difficult to get. So maybe we'll do a little customization video with those 2 figures. But for now, let's take a look at each of them individually. And let's start off with probably the most famous of the entire team, the one Psycho Ranger that actually managed to kill another Ranger. And I think I forgot to mention this when I showed off the box, but it also comes with an effect piece for the Pink Ranger, which is basically the firing arrow, which looks really good. I think it's the same effect piece as with the Pink Ranger, but it's just in like a slightly darker color. Let's take a little look. It is indeed the exact same effect piece, but wherein as the Kimberly version is a very soft pink. The one that comes with Psycho Pink is more of a violet or a hot pink. Sadly, we didn't get regular arrows with her, but We never really got to see that in the show anyway, did we? Now, what is really handy is that for the Psycho Pink Ranger, which the Pink Ranger bow couldn't do, you can actually tap in the arrow. There's a little tap there on which you can just tap that in right there. You just push it in, and that makes sure that the arrow doesn't fall off. Now, as for the rest of the bow, it comes with a little rubbery string, which I think is just the exact same material as the rest of the bow, but because it's like pretty thin, so I wouldn't pull this too hard, but it doesn't just snap off straight away either. Now, the body of the female Psycho Rangers is slightly different, very slightly, which I kind of like, because that way you don't just get the exact same figure 5 times and just recolored. But I don't think you could actually see a difference in the show itself, but I don't mind that. The armor really does not get in the way of the movement. It's like a soft rubbery material, so you can pose her basically any way you want. These pieces don't get in the way. They're a soft rubbery material, so the hinge on mine at least is stronger than the force the rubbery parts apply, so the legs don't get pushed down either, neither do the arms. Just like all the other releases, basically, you get the little elbow hinge. The hands just turn. You get a swivel at the bicep. The head can turn around. You get a little bit of an up and down movement, but not much. There is a hinge underneath here too to do that, but because of this collar, you don't really get much of an up and down movement because of that. And basically look up that far. And look up that down that far. But you don't get much use of the hinge. It's mostly just a ball joint. You get, of course, the turn at the, what'd you call that? Just at the chest. And there's an ab crunch. The ab crunch is a little bit limited because of the belt. She goes very easily to the back, but forward is about this much before the belt basically just blocks off the movement. Let's take a look at her bow with a little close up here. It is a very nice piece. The hot pink with the black. There's a little gold detailing on there, which I'm not sure what it stands for in Power Rangers, but for the Sentai it was Neji Ranger. And here we have the Yellow Ranger, exact same body type as Pink. I can show off the, everything is pretty much the same movement, everything. I can just show off the lightning hand here, which probably most people have already seen. They bought the regular pack of Psycho Blue and Red. Or well, Red came with Lost Galaxy Red, right? Yeah, he did. But it's just a nice little lightning hand. We get 5 for each of them. She has her little catapult blaster thing. It kind of looks a lot like the Yellow Space Ranger weapon, like the catapult. There's some silver detail on there. That's basically it. Oh wait, we have got again here also a very tiny Neji symbol, and on the other side as well in gold. So that's really nice. And here we have Psycho Black. He's got a beautiful big staff weapon thing. I'm not even sure if you could call this like a spear or a staff or a lance, but it's either of those. It is pretty heavy, the top part, so you kind of have to bend him a bit backwards when you pose him, because he tends to lean forward because of like it's not super heavy, but it's just enough to bring the figure out of balance quite easily. But you could also probably just stand him up like, you know, the typical staff pose. And you can just get him to lean on that, even if his foot is all wonky. Well, not that the foot is wonky, but he's just standing on his tippy toe right now. Now for this body, let's take a quick comparison to the female body first, so you can spot the differences. As you can see, the boots are just a little bit slimmer, as are the legs, especially at the knees. The thinner waist, which also makes the chest armor slightly smaller and more narrow. The arms are slightly different. The lower arm is a bit thinner on the female, and the bicep as well, which is much thicker on the male bodies here. From what I gathered, some people were kind of upset that all 5 didn't just get this body type, but personally I kind of like this. But that's also because I'm a fan of the Boom Studio comics, and you do see a bigger difference there, which you can kind of gather on the cover here already. If that's noticeable. Just slightly. But you get my point. Anyway, for articulation, it's pretty much the same. You got the double knee joint. I think I forgot, but it's the same for the female figurines. You can swivel the foot around and back and forth. Just grab yellow for that. So go back and forward, and of course the swivel side to side. And again, also an ab crunch, which on the male figure is actually easier to lean forward, because for some reason the belt does not obstruct this as much as on the female body. It also goes back, and of course same thing here. The chest armor is rubbery, so there's no obstructing the movement of the arms. You can basically pose them however you want, which is what I really like from this Lightning collection, because that's the Figure Arts had like a hinge for the shoulder parts, but if you want to pose the figure up with the arms up, it would look really awkward because you have like a huge gap with like the White Ranger and stuff like that. It just didn't look pretty. So I'm really happy that we get like this soft rubbery material. I just really hope it stands it stands through time, because I know a lot of rubbery toys from the 80s, they just got brittle and died. So I hope this is more durable. Now the helmets are all the same for male and female body type. They're just painted differently. Now of course the Black Ranger has this little golden trim instead of white, like the rest do. This is the one big difference. And you got, of course, the plenty of movement here as well. And that is also pretty much the same. Let's take another quick look at his staff here. It's got less painted details than previous weapons so far. It's just the black staff with the silver weapon detail on top. There's no symbols on this one. And here we have the blue Psycho Ranger. He's got his little axe there and a nice silver with a little blue detailing at the edges, which it looks really nice. Mine has a little bit of a blue splurge here. I think that's the one paint app that's a little bit faulty here on these figures on mine, but I should be able to clear that up with a little bit of rubbing alcohol and then it'll be fine. Now let's take a quick comparison to his previous release. And there we have him with his previous GameStop release. And they are, well, pretty much exactly identical when it comes to paint apps, the color, the detail paints on the axe and everything, the accessories, they're all the same. I couldn't for the life of me discover any difference between these two. So just in case for everyone wondering if there are any, like Lord Zed had some extra paint apps on his 2-pack with Rita Repulsa. The back of the hand and his claws were actually silver this time, which the original release did not have. But for this case, it's exactly the same. And last but not least, we got, of course, the team leader, I guess, sort of, maybe. Well, I guess that's Astronema, but there we have Psycho Red with his sword. Well, everything with Articulation is exactly the same as the Psycho Black figure, so instead, let's just take a quick look. At how he looks and his weapon. He's also got the little Neji symbol right there at the tip, but in his case it's not painted gold. I'm not sure if that was in the show. Let's take a look at that in a bit. Otherwise, he looks really good. And just as is the case with the blue Psycho Ranger, the release of the red Psycho Ranger is also exactly the same. No color difference, no paint app differences, exactly the same. His weapon, accessories, absolutely zero changes. Now for the effect parts, he's just got the typical lightning over the sword, just like with Goldar, just like with a couple of others. It's a nice little effect, that's for sure. Preferably, I would have loved it if they would have added effects like, you know, the spark effects or like little explosion or smoke effects instead of these continuous lightning on the weapon effects, but it's fine, it's fine. You know, I like the one that came with the putty, the Z putty, the explosive vest you could put on him. That was really nice. That was really nice. And in case you were wondering, as for the Yellow Ranger effect, well, it's this little explosion here, which has an edge for like a bladed weapon. So I guess it's supposed to be the impact of a catapult gun. So you'll have to put this on like the weapon of the opponent if you plan to like pose them. Pew pew! Her aim's a bit high, but it's difficult to see in those helmets. It really is. And last but not least, well, not last, because we've got one more after this, of course, or we can just put them all together. Here we have their official leader, I guess, or well, technically that's Dark Spectre. But here we have the Psycho Rangers with Astronema. Now they are definitely a little bit taller than Astronema, although I've got her standing up a little bit like that as well. But even then, the bodies of Psycho Pink and the male characters as well, because the Psychos are actually evenly tall. I only just noticed, usually the female figures are a bit shorter, like Astronema, but the Psycho Rangers are equally tall. You can especially see that with like yellow and blue here. So despite having female bodies, they are not smaller like the usual female bodies we get for the female characters. So that's really cool, that's really cool. I only just noticed that right now. Sorry for that, since it seems a bit, if it comes across as a little bit unprepared, but I only just now noticed that there's no height difference between the Psycho Rangers. Unlike with the usual female figures. So that's really cool. And now for a actual last comparison. Here we have the yellow Psycho Ranger with the yellow Wind Space Ranger and the red Psycho Ranger with the red Space Ranger. And they look really good together, they do. They look really good. And I can't wait to make like a display case once we get more of the Space Rangers, so I can make an actual like battle diorama. Unless of course we get the pink Galaxy Ranger first, and then I might just have to set it up as, well, you know, the iconic scene. The very first death of a Ranger ever, at least in Power Rangers. I think it's also the only one, isn't it, in Power Rangers? Well, because we had Spirit Rangers of people that were already dead. But I don't think we got another Ranger that actually died on the job, did we? Unless it was an RPM, which is the only series I haven't seen yet. But I'm gonna watch that soon anyway, and we'll find out then. I heard it was a fairly dark series, but who knows? Who knows? Anyway, thank you for having a look at the Psycho Rangers with me. If you like this and would like to see more, I will keep buying probably most of the Lightning collection. So I'll continue to shoot videos of them. If there's any characters which already came out and you would like to see a review of them, just let me know. I will probably make videos of previous releases in the future soon. But until then, thank you for watching, and hopefully see you next time.